Now, here we go.
Hi.
All right. Gotta.
Okay. All right. Hey, you. Hey there. Who lives in that castle upon yonder hill?
Well, who? What? Who? What? Who? You're just bouncing up and down, yelling "Hey!" without even asking your name and why you're. Do over.
Start over.
Start over. Okay, I'm digging.
Do over.
Autumn dew. Get the accent down. Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Coconuts.
Hey.
Coconuts.
Hey, you. Who lives in the castle yonder?
What? Who? You're just bouncing up and down and saying, "Hey, you," without even asking my name, and you're just banging two coconuts together.
I can't readily know your name when I first come up, and I have to bang the coconuts together because I can't ride a horse into the room while on Zoom.
You just come up riding, banging two coconuts together, yelling, "Hey, you," and you don't even have the common decency to actually be here right now because you're out prowling around on the internet trying to find out who owns that castle behind me. Who are you even asking? Why are you even asking who owns the castle?
I am your queen. I'm Savea Kamoriang, queen of Late Night Craft Talk. I'm searching for the perfect person to help me co-host my late night talk show. This is a quest that was revealed to me when I was ordained queen. The blessing of my coronation was sanctioned when the great sewing machine Excalibur was revealed to me by the lady doing beadwork in the lake.
Sir, a swimmer multitasking with beadwork, which isn't even a water sport, was probably confused, and it hardly seems the topic to base a whole late night talk show about. And how did she even have a sewing machine in the water? A sewing machine needs to be plugged in water's conductive electricity. So, zip, zip, zip.
Hush you. I just want to know who lives in that castle.
Hush.
Answer me, who lives in that castle?
Hush you. To me, you yelling at me through Zoom, piping on about some unsafe water activities while swimmers are out swimming with electrical devices. Just
hush. I said hush.
Okay. Now, some self-proclaimed royalty of late-night internet-based entertainment wants me to shut it. You can. At a point now, you can't even edit me out, so I get censored. You know what? Help! I'm getting censored. I'm getting censored by the queen.
Oh, just shut it. Yeah, I have to start my show. You're making it run late.
Okay, so your reality star standards, you can't even edit me out by now because we're deep in the video. So you just keep on censoring your audience. Go on, queen.
Oh, just go back to watch your cat videos on YouTube. You know what?
You're watching Late Night Craft Talk. And cue. There's too many buttons here. Cue opening.
Welcome to Late Night Craft Talk. With hosts Adair Kamoriang and James Hannies. Special guest, Scott Sutton. Now break out your teacup and your tea and sit back and enjoy the show. And your butter like spam.
And here we are.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. So obviously we're having kind of a British theme tonight. We will reveal in a few minutes what led to this decision.
Well, we can't really agree about anything British, but we decided Monty Python was probably a good betweener.
Yes, it does. We have a ding ding on the door. So today, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I wanted to do our first thing where I wanted to talk about our winners from last week. So
Cool.
I have 3 people that got everything right. Okay. So I'm going to put their names into the coconut shell. And I'm going to draw the winners, okay? So the first winner is going to be from Dancy Bear, who won the Germ Away bottle, which will be sent to that person, whoever wins this one. Okay.
That's a $10,000 prize these
I
days.
know, it's really big. Okay. So winner of the Germ Away is Donnie Gonzalez. Yay! Okay.
Go, Donnie!
Yeehaw.
I know him. This is really funny.
Okay. So then the next one from Elk Rack Traders. Oh, do they win today?
Do I announce the prize?
Yeah.
Okay. As announced last week, there is a feather that I painted, the grayed out U.S. flag feather that we painted. All very similar to this one. And that is this week's prize we'll be sending out to you.
Okay. The winner of this week's prize from Elk Rack Trader is Scott Sutton. Yay!
Hi, Scott.
So Scott just
In
won.
a very few minutes.
Okay. And we have our last one was the Stormtrooper sticker from Devin. Okay, I'm gonna pick out the last one.
Click, 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 click.
The winner is Carol Ann. Yay!
Yay, go on, Carol Ann.
Yay! So those are the winners for this week. And we're really excited that we get to share those things with those people. Yay, yay, yay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still in the peasant costume and it's getting pretty warm. I need to switch somehow at some time here.
It's hot right now.
Oh, yeah.
So, how were you this week? What did you do this week, James?
This has been an interesting week. Every week's interesting. It's got its things, but I haven't got a lot done to put on the website. I've got a few things. I'm going to show one that's, I don't normally show work that's half done, but I haven't done one of these in a few years, and I've done a few this week. I'm still going to put feathers on, but I don't know if you can see the shape of that, but it's a teepee over here on top of the dreamcatcher weave. And that's neat. And then something, actually, a couple live Facebook videos on, and I was hoping to finish it today. But still in detail, but you can see the work. Okay, you know what? A green screen. Wow. I painted a green braid of sweetgrass on this feather, and the detail's really awesome. But when you have a green screen behind you, this is what happens. Look, I even disappear.
It's invisible
in the
feather.
feather.
How did you paint that? That's amazing.
Magic. Wow, this is funny as heck. Okay. Well, believe me, it's really cool. You'll see it on our Facebook. So that's what we're doing. But one really quick, very, very short story to share is that I had to paint a military rank on a feather for a guy who's a retired military, U.S. military. And a friend had sent it to him. And I got this message Monday morning going, this dude is ecstatic. He's almost in tears. And this is a tough guy, retired military. And he says he's almost in tears. It just, the message I got from him, and then he messaged me my business on Facebook saying, dude, this thing is awesome. You're the boss. You're a boss. And I'm like, that is like the coolest thing I've heard in 2 weeks. Sometimes, we make the artwork. Sometimes it's personal. It's us. We put it out there. We put it for people. It's whatever the spirit wills it. And I looked at his Facebook page and he posted a picture of the feather. And 5 days before it was in my hand. And now I'm looking at his place. I'm going, that's amazing. Just been in this business. I've owned Elk Rack, opened up in 1996. Been doing powwows for about 4 years longer than that. And I just, to this day, it never stops to cease to amaze me. It's just really cool. As much now as it was the first time. And that's it. That's what I got.
Cool. That's very cool. So this week, we actually we're working on masks like crazy. Oh, look, see, it's happening to me too. We've been working. I know, right? It's like I have invisible masks that like do the cloak of invisibility.
Still not as awesome as the middle of the feather.
I know, right? So this one, yeah. But that
was not planned.
I know, right? We've been working on masks at our store because last week we did a showcase and we are trying to plan ahead, and we're going to make a whole bunch of masks and a whole bunch of different designs and colors and sizes. Mm-hmm. And we're going to have them available for our showcase next week. So that's something we're working on right now, which is kind of exciting. And then also I wanted to touch really quick our show. For those that are just tuning in now, our show is actually, the purpose of doing our show is to entertain the 3 people that watch our show. we also
Yeah, more
want
than
to, we also want to share information that is interesting for people. We know a lot of different people in the craft industry and artists and business owners and different things. So we make it as interesting and fun as we can. And plus, it's Friday night, and we're having fun with it, and it's kind of a fun thing we're doing.
We're under quarantine. You know, the outbreak. We want to have everybody have fun. Come over there, bring some information, introduce the artists. Savannah and I were meeting on Monday over booking guests and looking at guests well into like August, and we have such an amazing lineup of guests coming up. And starting with week 1, and here are week 4, and another amazing guest. It's just great to be able to meet the people, hear their names, and now here we are. We can share this conversation with everybody and be able to be a proxy for their questions and their conversation with our guests. So it's just amazing. It's just so great to be a part of this.
Yes. So
aren't you glad I brought you in, Savannah?
Yeah, I know, right?
It was mutual.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Actually, I look forward to every week of we just do all the planning and try to put everything together and try to brainstorm ideas and being silly. And, this whole thing was just kind of, hey, let's do this kind of theme.
Oh, yeah. So,
yeah.
I'm thinking, since we got a quest and, King Arthur and all those people, they already had quests. What do you think we got to do a quest?
So should we start a quest for the golden teacup?
I think we need to have it for the perfect cup of tea because that's British. Tea's totally British.
Okay, let's do this.
Think we need to go off in our quest?
Yes, let's go on the quest. Okay, I'm gonna ride away right now.
Okay,
right away.
Give me 20 seconds to get ready for this next part. Because costume changes are not quick in a limited space with the green screen behind you.
It is definitely. I mean, this is we're planning. You guys can look at a beautiful mirror image of Downton Abbey.
Okay, this is not fit easily. Okay, here I am. Castle's up.
Hello.
I'm hiding. Here we go.
Hello. Hey there.
What do you want? Your crazy British English queenie thing of late night TV.
I'm on a quest. I'm looking for the golden cup. Have you seen? We're looking for Scott Sutton. I heard that he's in the Crafty Abbey. And
there is no Scott Sutton in this castle. This is nothing but French. Can't you tell I'm French because I got this outrageous accent? All we have in this castle is beadwork von Beady guy.
I was told that Scott Sutton is in the castle right behind me.
No, only Frenchy types that are high class to Frenchy. Oh.
I was told it. So you know what? We're gonna storm the castle.
No, you're not, because
we're gonna storm the
I
castle.
still haven't insulted you yet. Your mother was a rusty pair of scissors, and your father smelt the burnt fry bread.
We're storming the castle.
You're storming the castle. Good luck, you English. I throw things down at you. Go away, you Englishman. Hi, take that. I'm amazed that pillow was green. It didn't disappear. Okay, there we go. Oh no, the English got in the castle. Now let me do a share screen and then stop it. I'm just going to multitask. And there we go. Now that we got, and that isn't supposed to be there. Now that we got in the castle, we introduce special guest tonight, Scott Sutton.
Okay, let's see. We need to get Scott Sutton.
And let me get rid of the castle right quick.
All right, let's see. We got Scott Sutton coming in here.
Hi. How y'all doing?
We're doing really great.
I'm changing sets and costumes at the same time.
Yeah, right.
And I've got a bunch of stuff I need to pick up because somebody decided to storm a castle. Look at that, the fellow's disappearing. Like a feather. It did disappear when we were doing that. So I got a lot of stuff from a Frenchman fighting off Sevilla.
Yes, I know.
And if that would look like a water helmet I was wearing as the French warrior guy in the castle, it just might have looked like one. Because there's not a costume shop open right now.
like a quarantine.
And I'm still wearing the
He's
peasant
like
costume.
a quarantine mind, like he's wearing a mind.
You know what? Never mind that, yes, French soldiers in the Middle Ages also had GoPro mounts on their whitewater helmets. Historical accuracy is subjective. Anyway,
okay. So
thank you, Scott. Welcome.
Welcome, Scott. So for those of you who don't know who Scott is, he's actually the author of both of these books here. Beadwork Techniques by Scott Sutton right there. I'm not making it up. Craftwork Techniques by Scott Sutton. So these are both of his books that he has published, and they're really amazing books. And we're so excited to have Scott here with us because basically he's created a really great book that, we and Dancing Bear, we sell this book like crazy. Like people love this book. And I just thought it was really exciting that we could have Scott on our show and on Late Night Craft Talk, and he could tell us about some of his work that he does and help hopefully inspire some of the other people that are doing crafting and whatnot.
Well, right quick, Scott, would you be able to beat a hole through that? To cover up that hole?
Fill in the gap, eh?
I'm gonna have more fun with this tonight. And I'm wearing a cream print on my hat. So, Scott, when we were talking earlier, I relayed the question. Let's go to the beginning. Your beadwork with Scott Sutton, year one. What started you? What inspired you?
Oh my goodness. I started beading when I was about 5 years old.
Wow.
I was interested with my dad in a group called the Y Indian Guides, if you will. And I got a book by Ben Hunt called American Indian Lore. And that kind of started me doing it. I bought a loom from Tandy Leather Company. That was the old wireframe metal loom that had spools on either end of it. And you could make short little bracelets and things. And I started doing beadwork on that. Years later, I joined the Boy Scouts in Long Beach, California, and joined a group called the Tribe of Taquets. And it was the honor scouting program for the Long Beach Area Council. Through there, I got into a group called CHA, California Indian Hobbyist Association, and met some wonderful craft people that were very knowledgeable and were good inspiration. And they got me really going on doing beadwork and other craft work. One of my fondest memories, though, is spending summers back in Oklahoma with a friend of mine, Larry Strom, who took me back there. He had lots of to different museums and things. And so I was able to get in some of the back rooms and really look at the archives of items that they had back there and have my hands actually on things and look at them up close. So it was a great experience. And since then, I've been doing just beading like crazy. Made my first outfit when I was dance outfit when I was 15, fancy dance outfit, danced feather dance for many years, converted over to straight dance as I got older, became a member of the California Hayoshka Society, which is like a warrior society that was given to California from the Ponca people in Oklahoma. Been dancing there since I was a young man. I'm a tail dancer. I've been tail dancing with them since I was 17 years old. So I'm getting pretty old now. So I've been doing that for quite a few years. And back about almost 11 years ago now, I was sitting down complaining to my wife about the books that were written on beadwork and how they really didn't show the hands-on really how to do these beadwork projects. They had a lot of pages that had like graph paper examples and things, but nothing really showed you how. And she looked at me and says, well, write your own book then. And so I did. And I sent it off to a publisher who published the book. And it's become as far as I know, the #1 craft selling beadwork book in the country. It's used in many Indian education programs for children. It's also over in Germany. It was translated into German. I think that was about 3 or 4 years ago that happened and stuff. So that's where that first book came around. And after the first book was done, that goes into the 4 basic techniques of beadwork, actually 5 because it covers brickwork as well.
Mhm.
After that book was written, we went on and did book 2, which went into specific craft items that showed beginning to end how to make different craft projects like a belt buckle, a barrette, a fan, a pair of moccasins, and different items, scout feathers. Those are all included in that book too.
Mhm. That's really awesome. I mean, honestly, I've seen so many people be really happy with that book. It's a really great guide. I know so many people that have these books at home and they have them in their library and they use them as a guide when they're working on different projects. And it's really cool. It's a very nice book, so I really recommend it. Let's
Thank you.
show them some of your work.
Sure.
Please.
Okay, so tell us, Scott. So all these pictures, this is all Scott's work. I mean, this is pretty amazing. How many moccasins have you made, Scott?
Well, just this morning I finished pair number 402. I'm starting pair 403 of moccasins. That's fully beaded moccasins, not just baby moccasin stuff, but just like the size of what you see right here. The
Wow.
3 pairs on the bottom are all ones that I wear. They go with my dance clothes. The ones up in the top left were made for a friend of mine named Mike Watts. He's the Wanoje or whipman for the California Ayahuasca, and those match his beadwork that he has. And the ones on the top right were made for Dr. Stephen Pratt, who is an Osage from back in Oklahoma and member in the Alonchka Society back there.
Wow, those are really amazing.
Those are all done on brain tan buckskin
Mhm.
that I tan myself. I tan my own hides as well. So,
Oh, really? You do your own brain tan?
yes.
Wow, that's amazing. Ready for the next one?
Sure.
So
This is is that where you want to be?
Whoops, sorry. Okay, good. So you want me to go? Okay, show. So this is just one of your. Of course, I have to show purple first because purple's my favorite color.
Okay.
I
This is a
wonder.
beaded vest. Oh, there's okay. This is the vest I'm actually wearing right now. I made this in 2016. This was my second fully beaded vest that I made.
Wow.
It's done out of 11/aught cut beads. And the inspiration for this came from one of those trips that I was back in Oklahoma with Dr. Larry Strom. And we were in a trading post and I looked up on a way up high and I saw a vest that I really liked. So I took a picture of it and kind of sketched out that design. And it just always, I always just really liked it, but never had just right in the right mood to make it. And a few years ago, I decided it was time. And so I made that vest. Everybody thinks it weighs a ton, but it only weighs about 7 pounds. But that is 7 extra pounds when you're out there dancing. So.
7 pounds, definitely. That's a lot still. Yeah. Wow. That's beautiful. That's fully beaded.
Yeah.
Ready for the next one?
Sure. These, the top one on the left and the red one and the other blue one are all barrettes that were made for different people. The one with the lily, I made that and I posted it out on Facebook to show people. And one of my local friends, Lynn Anderson, saw it and immediately messaged me and said, "That's mine. Don't sell it to anybody else. I want that." So she has that barrette. The one on the right on the top, the red one, was made for Barbara Stumbling Bear. It was a design that she had from an old piece that she liked. And so she asked me if I could make something of a necklace and a barrette for her to match. And so I did. So it's got water birds and then it's got the gourd rattles for the Native American church in it. And then the bottom one, of course, is a hummingbird that was made for Jody Lugan, who's a friend of mine here in Oregon. The one on the bottom left is actually a belt buckle. And it just, again, is another kind of abstract. I got to the point where everything was really symmetrical And my wife was always telling me, you never think outside the box. And so I started doing things that were just a little bit different and out of the ordinary by shifting off to the side, making the center off to the side and having things radiate out from there.
Mm-hmm.
So that was where that kind of a abstractness came into being.
Mm-hmm. Wow. This is like it is really beautiful work, and it's also very detailed and very interesting. Oh, you were telling us a story about the red beret with the gourds and the water birds earlier.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought that was a really nice story.
Oh, I told her it belongs to Barbara Stumbling Bear and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just part.
Yeah.
She had a long history of owning a piece that had those designs in it.
I just think that's really nice. It's nice to hear those kind of stories about like where the design work comes from. Okay, so here's the next one.
These are all belt buckles. The top right and the bottom left belong again to Dr. Stephen Pratt. He commissions me to do a lot of work for him and stuff. He is a member of the Native American Church, and so the upper right one is a water bird with a peyote button in the center of it, and the design. So it's made with red and blue as the colors and the wings and stuff per his request. And then he also wanted one. Both of these buckles have a necklace that matches them. The horse one is like a painted pony. He wanted a blue horse, and so this is a horse in traveling, galloping, and the necklace matches it. The other two, the one on the bottom right, kind of has a flair for the Northwest culture, if you will. It's got the reds and grays and white. When I do those kind of projects, there's no pattern. I just start in the center and work my way out, kind of let God just guide me on how I'm going to end up with this project. So I never know what those are going to look like. Well, really what any of them are going to look like until they're done. They're not all drawn out beforehand. They're just a blank piece of canvas that I work on with the beads and bead as I go and let God kind of direct my hands.
That's cool.
Yep.
So Scott is very well-rounded in regards to his skills.
So these are a couple of fans I made. The one on the left is a grouse that comes from England. It is the black feathers with the white speckles in it. That's native. That's the natural coloring of those birds. And these birds, all these feathers, are completely legal in the United States. The one on the right is a macaw fan, scarlet macaw, and there's a tail stick next to it. And the fans, of course, are beaded, and they use a series of different colors of feathers made out of that are from birds like pheasants, and then what we call florets, or I can't remember. Some people have some different names for those, but they're little goose feathers that are dyed different colors that you just cut the tips off of it and use that to do the feather wrapping. Or the layers, like on the left, one on the left, the feathers are all layered. On the one on the right, each feather is wrapped individually with the florets, creating a more precise look, if you will. And then the fringe is a rolled leather fringe, thin pieces of leather that are twisted. And then once they're twisted, you twist them back on themselves and they roll up into this tight fringe. And some people paint those with white shoe polish and then re-roll them again to make them look more spiffy. It just depends on how you want to do it.
Yeah.
Tail sticks there are carried by traditionally for a tail dancer of an organization. But a lot of people just carry them now as part of the dance outfit to have something in your hand, whether it's a tail stick, a mirror board, or something else.
Mm-hmm.
You want to show the next one?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is a couple more fans again. The one on the left, these feathers are actually natural feathers. They're a turkey feather. They kind of resemble a immature bald eagle. They're a little bit shorter than that because they're turkey feathers, of course. But a friend of mine in California, Paul Birmingham, was the hybrid turkey farmer that farmed these. And his turkeys, they collect the feathers, and it takes a while to get a whole set because the bird doesn't drop them all at one time. And again, this one's done with the goose florets, and they're wrapped down and down into the handle. The one on the right is an imitation of a female black cockatoo. These are not real feathers either. These are imitations. A gentleman by the name of Curtis Wright, who is an excellent artist in the featherwork community, does these painted feathers. Well, I'm sorry, painted. They're dyed feathers that he creates these creations that look so much like real feathers. It's just remarkable. He does a fantastic job. This particular fan won second place at the National Powwow back east in Indiana back in, what was that, 2017. Mm-hmm. And when it won second place, it's kind of an unusual contest because there's only 3 winners. There's a first, second, and third out of all the people that enter items in that certain category. And there's not like a fan is being judged against beaded coats. There was cradleboard, there were otter things, just all kinds of varieties of different things, which makes it extremely difficult to judge things against one item to the next because of the different mediums that are used and stuff. But I felt very happy to get a second place ribbon there.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous piece.
These are some examples of applique work done on broadcloth. Broadcloth is that trade cloth that has a distinctive salvage edge on the bottom of it. Mm-hmm. The green one is about 10 years old. And I made that when I was working at a summer camp for the week for the kids for the Title, I'm not sure if it was Title 7 or Title 9 Indian Education Program out of Eugene, Oregon. They had a summer camp for many, many years. And I did most of the beadwork for that one up there. The one on the left is the black one. It's the one that I wear when I wear this vest and dance. These are done with tri-cut beads, which are a little different than the typical seed bead. It is a type of a seed bead, but they're glass. They're a little bit bigger, a lot more sparklier. The bottom one is done on a salvage edge that is called powwow purple. It's very specific to one individual trading post that sells that cloth. They have it custom made by Teton Trade Cloth. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I just finished that set actually about 3 weeks ago. That's my COVID-19 bead suit that I made.
Wow. I mean, you're really well-rounded in regards to craft work. So it's pretty amazing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is, of course, is purple. Yay.
This is another purple. This is called Poppy Purple. Comes from that same vendor that has the powwow purple made. Mm-hmm. This was the first run was the Poppy Purple. And I happen to have the dubious distinction to have the first cut of fabric that came off that bolt.
Wow.
So this is what I made out of it. It's the vest and apron and trailer set that all match, again, done in the Oto, Missouri style of beadwork, done directly on the wool. That's not appliqued and then put on the wool. It's directly beaded onto the wool.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yes.
Of course, it's got some ribbon work binding on it.
So yay. So from looking at all those pictures, it's amazing, when you think about how much work that you've done. It's like when you see it all, it's just really amazing. It's like.
And if I may, we've met actually with Scott a couple of times this week, and prominently we're talking about beadwork, and we're just general conversation, just kind of like doing a pre-interview and just get to know each other before we do the show. I mentioned, I'll make drums, and Scott's going, "Oh, I made some power drums, this many," and I'm going, and and then we start talking about skinning hides and tanning and whatnot that you did years ago, and he's still doing it because I had enough of it in school, so I probably hardly paid my way through college. And the fact that, it's just not beadwork, but you can do your own leather, you can tan your own hide, your own rawhide. And we haven't even talked about other areas, that the fact that you have that broad expertise in so many areas, because sometimes when it comes, native craft, you've got people who are good at napping, others at beadwork, quill work, whatnot. And I wouldn't be surprised if we talk about quill work and you're like, yeah, well, strip a porcupine in 10 seconds and whip out a whole chest plate of quills. And I would go over there, but just knowing that you have that other in-depth knowledge of everything from making, tanning your own hide, even brain tanning, to just the quill, the beadwork is just astounding. And it was a pleasure knowing that and be able to talk shop with you, even those other areas.
Great.
I think even Scott has an interesting teepee story.
Do tell, please.
My sewing story?
Yeah.
This is good.
Oh, many, many years ago, I was sewing I got the chicken pox from a patient at the emergency room at Anaheim General Hospital. And when I got the chicken pox, I was quarantined for 14 days at home because of the chicken pox. So I didn't feel sick. And so I went out and bought yards and yards and yards of canvas at an awning store and borrowed an industrial sewing machine and was sewing the strips of the fabric together out in my backyard with this industrial sewing machine. So by the time I was done, I had yards and yards, because this teepee was a 22-foot teepee. It wasn't a little teepee. It was a big teepee. And when I was sewing it, I was paying attention as I was doing, but I'm doing lap seams, one piece over the other, and then sewing two things down. Well, I was sewing reams of this fabric through, and the next thing I knew, I went like this, and my thumb was sewn to the teepee. And my scissors were way over there with the Savea, and my thumb was way over here, and I couldn't reach them. And I'm hollering for my wife to come out and help me. And I'm hollering and hollering. She finally comes out and she goes, "What do you want?" And I said, "I am sewed to the canvas and I can't reach the scissors to cut myself free. It weighs too much."
With your shelter.
So we, and the thread was not just thread, it was that heavy nylon kind of cordage like thread and stuff. So we cut me free, and there was a big blood stain on the teepee there and stuff. And for years that stain was there, and we told all kinds of good stories with how that blood got on the teepee there and stuff. But it was pretty fun. It was pretty cool. Good memory.
What's your other quarantine project?
I'm just thinking, I'm loving how we suffer for our craft and become one with it sometimes.
Yep. I knew from as soon as I was helping that patient disrobe and put a gown on that I was in trouble when I saw what they had.
Yeah, I know. So, hey, are we ready for our next segment?
Well, I'm getting a little parched right now. I've been having some tea because, British theme. Getting into it, and I'm enjoying my Earl Grey.
So you're telling me it's time for a crafty tea talk?
I think so. Would anybody like some tea?
Scott,
I got some prepared.
We can pour you a cup of tea. Would you like us to pour you a cup of tea?
That would be great.
Okay, here. So James,
here we go. Let me get some Savea some tea first, if we may.
Okay, all right.
You ready, Savea?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, is that enough?
Okay, yeah, that's good. Here, Scott. Here you go.
Would you like some, Scott?
Oh, thank y'all.
You're welcome. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute.
Remember, quarantine and shelter in place at home.
Scott, I need some tea too. Come on, James. I need some tea too.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
All right, let me get it back up. All right, here we go. All right, here's some tea.
Yeah.
I had to get it off the shelter. Here we go.
Thank you. Okay, now we can all have tea together.
Yes. Oh, give me a more.
Good.
We're doing good here.
Oh, I gotta do the pinky.
I'm not seeing this is an English tea. Where's the pinky?
I got my pinky out.
Wrong. Oh, okay. There
Queen of the talk show.
Try to drink it, not drown yourself.
Drinking from an American coffee cup. Well, I think it's probably.
I forgot to grab the saucer.
Oh yes.
I crawled up my attic to get this stuff out. I was wrapping up a newspaper that said 1993. That's how often I get sophisticated.
Yeah, so we
As
have
a real
our.
quick thing, though, can I talk? I want to talk a little bit about this back here.
Oh yes, tell us.
Please.
This is a blanket that I made for my father many years ago. When my father passed away, this was his. He was a colonel in the service, and so of course he was well decorated and had an American flag, but he also had this robe on his casket for his funeral and stuff. So it's very sentimental to me and will be passed down to my son and to my grandsons and stuff. But it's a Cheyenne beaded blanket strip, again done in all cut beads and stuff. But it's one of my prized possessions.
Wow, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
So, are we ready for our next segment, James? Slide?
Do we have? Yeah, that's right. We had to do something into it. I don't have to remind me.
So, really quick, Scott, how long did it take you to do that that strip on that blanket?
About 3 weeks. 3 weeks. I do a pair of moccasins in about 5 days, start to finish.
While watching a show?
While I watch, I have my craft room upstairs above the garage. You guys have seen it when we've done craft time before. So I sit in that lounge chair and stuff. That's where all the magic happens and stuff. And I have my little TV up there and I listen to it more than I watch it. But I'm like a little old lady with knitting needle or a crochet hook. I can watch the show and my hands know what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, I know, because we actually have, we host a craft night every Thursday and Sunday night from 6 to 9 p.m. Pacific. And Scott joins us many times. And he's like, I gotta go watch my show.
Yeah,
And
8 o'clock, gotta go watch Downton Abbey with the wife.
And
Aww.
hence, when we were talking about that gave the that led the way to this, where Surveyor and I are all definitely in front of Downton Abbey, that we've nicknamed Crafton Abbey.
Yes, Crafton Abbey.
Crafton Abbey. Crafty Abbey. That was it.
Crafty Abbey.
I mean, that's what led us to the Monty Python and General
And that's
British.
why we're doing the tea.
Yeah. More tea?
Oh yeah, more tea, please.
Okay.
Scott, would you like some more tea?
Sure.
Okay, let me
We
get.
like
my
to be
tea.
generous hosts here at Crafty Abbey.
Okay, all right, okay. Hey Scott, can you hand me that cup so I can fill it?
Sure.
Oh, okay. Here you go.
Coming up, more. Here we go.
Yeah, some more. Okay, here you go. Here you go, Scott.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Only the best
Only the best.
with our high budget.
It's
Yeah.
like Folgers, you know.
We're all in the same place because Surveyor and I have the same castle behind us. Folks, we've been practicing that a bit. It is going out really good.
It's very hard. It's hard to pour tea through the internet from Indio to Escondido.
That's why we're liking this high-end drone delivery right now that's really fast. But this is what led us to the British theme tonight.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So,
Are we ready for
our slide? Your
Huh?
slide?
I got my slide because I know we were headed to that because I looked at my notes right here.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gents, it is time for trivia questions.
Yay!
So you've got
trivia,
until
trivia.
Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. We'll call it midnight, but you've got till midnight Sunday. So let's say 11:59 p.m., just a few days away, to email the answers to this week's trivia questions to latenightcrafttalk@gmail.com.
Yes.
And with that, let's get some
talk about
trivia
our prizes.
questions.
Wait. Let's talk about our prizes first.
The prizes for next week
Yeah.
are going to be starting with Dancing Bear.
Okay. So our prizes this week, since we're making masks, the winner next week will actually get to pick a mask, and it will not be see-through. Like these are magically see-through, or you can see Downton Abbey through it. It's like you look through the hole and you see Downton Abbey. You'll be able to pick the size and the design you want. So the winner will win one of these. Okay. And then James.
Okay. What I was going to do is I actually have a a feather I painted that's got, took a long time, but it's totally worth it because I'm inspired. That's called Green Corn Harvest. If I were to show the feather, because it's sitting right here, I'm also bring this one back because it's going to look like that if I try to show it. So, I'm not doing anything that's green to the late night craft talk. But that's what this week's person will be getting from as a prize from Elk Rack Traders.
Yeah, so now Scott has really something special that he's sharing.
Oh, Scott, you had to do this to us.
Oh my gosh.
These are a set of beaded medallions. There's 2 of them. They are 2¼ inches in diameter, done with different shades of blue with green rhinestones in the center of them. They have ties on the back of them. So they could be used as hair ties or tied to a vest, used on an otter, many different uses that they can be used for. But this will also be a prize for the winner of the trivia contest for this week.
Oh my gosh. You know, those would look really good on my hair. You know, maybe I could just enter the contest myself.
No, self-defeating purpose.
Shoot. Okay, so now it's time for the trivia questions. Okay.
Well, let's go.
We're going to go. Okay. So the first trivia question.
We have. So the first trivia question, everybody remember to email your questions by midnight Sunday night. Well, that would be, let's just think midnight is 11:59 p.m. So we don't get confused over dates. But first question we have is, what is the name of the movie that features John Goodman crowned as a Royal of England? Again, what is the name of the movie that features John Goodman crowned a Royal of England?
Okay.
Second question is, what are the names of the 6 members of the comedy troupe Monty Python? Again, what are the names of the 6 members of the comedy troupe Monty Python? Or as in Monty Python? You should have totally read that like they do.
I know, right?
The characters.
So my question is, what is the name of the actors who played the 10th and the 11th Doctor on Doctor Who? So what is the name of the actors who played the 10th and the 11th Doctor on Doctor Who? I swear I'm gonna convert everyone to Doctor Who fans on this show.
Not happening, Star Trek fan here.
That's my alternate plan. Okay. What pop music group from the UK featured Baby, Sporty, Ginger, Posh, and Scary? What pop music group from the UK featured Baby, Sporty, Ginger, Posh, and Scary?
And number 5, how many Downton Abbey episodes are in all 6 seasons? Once again, how many Downton Abbey episodes are in all of the 6 seasons?
That's a tough one.
And number 6, what castle was chosen for Downton Abbey's interior and exterior filming locations? What castle was chosen for Downton Abbey's interior and exterior filming locations? I know. Oh.
You don't count as much as Surveyor can't play.
I know. It's terrible. So here's a reminder, guys, and notice that trivia questions is in purple. So make sure to email your answers to latenightcrafttalk@gmail.com. And remember, they're due by midnight on Sunday after the show. Yes, don't forget. You can win one of those awesome prizes. My tiara is kind of getting loose a little. I kind of look like Stevie Nicks here a little bit with purple and pink rhinestone banding hair extensions.
Gotcha. Just for a quick reminder, just so people they don't get around when you see that we're still going to be over. Remember that when we get done with our formal part of our program, we still have overtime where you have a chance to email in questions for Scott.
Yes.
And you can email in questions to latenightcrafttalk@gmail.com, or you can leave. We've already got several questions right there on the Facebook feed that we'll be relaying to you. You are a popular man.
Yeah, I know, because everyone's like, wow, that guy's got mad bead skills, crafting and bead skills.
And anybody that wanted to meet him or talk to him on Zoom, this dude's cool. He really is.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's always
So,
just like, I'm already done with another pair. I'm done with another pair.
I'll tell you, Scott, we were actually going to do we couldn't put it together in time. Because, I mean, just that Monty Python opening bit we re-edited was like it was a half day of work, but totally worth it. But we were going to say, for beaded moccasins number 410, we're going to do a reenactment. And I was going to bring out this like silver or golden moccasins right there. And we're going to have like balloons coming down. This is what we intended. We've flat out ran out of time to do that. We want to make something fun with that for you. So there was our intention.
Or
actually got the balloons. We just ran out of time.
Good intentions.
James, they could be fry bread moccasins.
Or fry bread insoles.
Yeah,
give away the sponsor in a couple weeks today.
Yeah, you touched on another one of my things. I'm also a balloon artist.
What?
Oh my gosh.
Really? Like, you're so talented.
I tie balloons. My wife is a professional clown.
Really?
And she can never tie balloons.
Oh, I know a lot of teenagers about to be afraid of your wife.
She's had that happen before and stuff too. But we went to clown convention. She tried to learn how to tie balloons, couldn't do it. Said, "Can you do this?" And I looked at him. I think I can do that. And I did it. And the guy told her to go out by the pool and have me take the class instead. So I became her balloon artist.
That is so cool. Oh my gosh.
Savea.
Yeah.
What we got coming up?
Oh, so yeah. So you want me to tell you about like the next show?
Yeah. What do we got coming up?
Yeah. So next week we have a gal named Christy Nito. She's very fun. I've known her for many years. Her company is My Lucky Dragon, and she actually makes soaps that look like food. It's very cool. And she does all these really cool sewing projects, purses and different things. Right now, she's actually making masks. And so she's been doing all kinds of fun, like geeky pop culture things. And so with the show, like we were saying earlier, we bring a whole bunch of people that we know to like give some interesting point of views and tell some interesting stories about their lives and their businesses and their inspiration to inspire everyone. So it's pretty cool. So anyway, hey, James.
Yes.
I was thinking about what you might see,
what we might see next week. This is the part of the show that we got to still plan out, but Sylvia and I have been talking about it. And we want to give you we're pretty on about this one. We actually planned this one ahead for next week. What you all might see next week is the durability of snack foods in adventure sports. And here's a little clip for you to take a look at.
Okay. Let's see this.
Will it roll?
Stick with us, folks.
Yes, it will roll.
Oh, there's a hat. I was wondering.
That's what we y'all might see next week.
Yes, this is true. And then you may even see the knights that say "Bead."
Yes. I'm gonna go ahead and put this to the audience. We have a sketch that we left out because we know that we wanted to share so much. Scotch had so much really cool beadwork to share with us that we wanted to maximize that time. And so when we get to overtime, and at some point, if y'all want us to see, just do the sketch of the knights that say bead, we will do it. But
Okay.
you got to sound off and let us know, and it's still going to be a while. But there's that.
But we also have the last one.
I'm
Get
looking.
ready? Scott just got this one.
Well, okay, I'm completely lost here.
Uh-oh.
Thanks for that. Okay. Oh, wait. Yes. Okay. I remember. So on our quest that we're going over, we have to, and where did I put it? Okay. So while we're doing that, we're still continuing our quest for the perfect teacup, the golden teacup, the perfect cup of tea. We're almost there. But first, we have a challenge. Ah! It's the attack rabbit. And so it's attacking us. Oh no! Oh no! Ah! 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 And it's going to you, Savannah.
The holy hand grenade. This is
Okay. And I got it back in my hand. You can here. Oh no! Here it is again.
Oh, no,
Here it is,
no.
and it's going to jump back at Savannah and attack her. Here we go.
No.
Ben, you got to get to the. Okay, yeah. There's more rabbit furs. Okay. Oh no! It's attacking me again. And there's it looking and wanting to get to the audience, but we're defending you because we love our audience.
Okay, so the
You guys are too much.
holy hand grenade.
It's getting really late at night, but we're still not tired, and I'm drinking a lot of Pepsi. So yeah, attack rabbit.
No.
You just landed on the tea kettle. Ah. Okay, I'm gonna throw it up to make sure it's landing on me there. Okay, we're there. Attack rabbit. Does anybody have the holy hand grenade of Antioch?
No.
Somebody needs to really rewatch Monty Python the Holy Grail from that scene.
Obviously.
Because when we do it, we're supposed to read from the Book of Armaments
Yes.
and then throw the grenade.
Yes. Okay.
Oh my
That
Because the plan was that Savannah was going to read from the Book of Armaments and would open up one of the bead books by Scott Sutton. So there we go. We are officially at the section where people can email in their questions or leave your responses. And we've got a good amount built
you're
up.
gonna be busy for a while, Scott. You're not gonna be able to go to bed for at least a few hours. Just so
Oh
you
my
know.
gosh. You all do realize we're past my bedtime already.
Oh yeah, I mean, even Downton Abbey's ever done for the night.
Yeah.
We go as long as until one of us runs out of gas
Okay.
Okay. All
or
right.
midnight comes.
So we're at the official end. Okay. So let's see here. Okay. Question. Brian asks, have you done Comanche moccasins?
Men's Comanche moccasins, I have done them, yes.
Okay. So it was just he just said
They're a little bit different. Comanche moccasins have two, they're a partially beaded moccasin that one side down the toe is beaded in one design and one down the other side is got a different design on it and stuff. And then they have the beadwork design. Oftentimes they have fringe on the side or tin cones and then fringe out the back of them. Sometimes the flaps are or there's some dyeing of the leather, like with a copper, which gives you a green color. You dye the leather with that. So I have done them. I usually only do those for somebody who's asking me for a custom order for them.
Okay. James, do you have a question?
Go mouthful.
I waited for him to be a mouthful. Okay. So Vivian asks, what was the hardest beading project you've done so far?
Probably the hardest was my daughter's dress. My daughter has a beaded buckskin dress. It has 5 elk hides in the dress. Wow. And has, oh my gosh, I can't even remember how many appliques are on it. And then around every one of the little scallops of the dress is all beaded and stuff too. That's what she wanted for her 16th from her graduation from high school gift was this beaded dress. But that included the dress, the moccasins, the leggings, all the hair pieces, a fan, and a purse that all matched.
Wow. That's
so that's probably one of the biggest projects.
Okay. Do you have a question, James?
Yeah, we have a question that's sent in from Dan Ang. Okay, now wrong person. Dan, why are you sending questions? It's an email addressed to you. We have a question in from Carolyn Blackwood, and she says, "Hi Scott, I love your work. What do you suggest for someone who would like to make moccasins for the first time? I'm a beginner level beater." Sent from my iPhone. Well, I said that, but again, the question is, what do you suggest for someone who would like to make moccasins for the first time?
I would first suggest you make them out of a commercial leather, not Braintown buckskin, and don't try to bead the first pair. just try to figure out if you can make the pattern correctly using the measurements that the foot pattern and making an upper pattern that matches it and sewing them together without any beads on it to see how well they come out and see where you need to tweak things. Once you master doing just the moccasin without beads on it, then you can start doing your bead work. You can either do partially beaded or fully beaded moccasins at that point in time. But I would always encourage people to use brain tan buckskin for the uppers on moccasins if you're going to bead them. Beading on brain tan is so much easier than commercial tan. It's like beading through butter versus beading through a stiff, hard piece of lard. It's just much easier to get the needle through the thread. And you don't need to use an awl if you're using good brain tan buckskin, if you got that available to you. But as a beginning pair, I would say use commercial tan hide. German tan hide makes a good, it's very close to brain tan buckskin. It's just not quite as durable as brain tan. Brain tan's always going to be your most durable.
Okay, so I have a new one question. This is from Cassie Restivo. She says, Scott, how many times would you say you have poked your finger on accident with your beading needle? I know I've done it enough.
A million times. I use a thimble that I make out of leather scraps that this is my pushing finger, my middle finger, and I cover it with a piece of leather and then use electrical tape over the top of it to hold the leather in place. Metal thimbles will break your needles. You know, your needles are fragile on the back end. And for those who aren't beaters, if you're a beater, you know that the back end of that needle is almost as sharp as the front end of that needle and stuff. So I use that thimble as my pushing tool and stuff. But I also, on both outsides of my fingers, I have almost permanent cuts from threads being pulled snug by my fingers and stuff. So I've always got wounds all over my hands. From the worst thing you do is poke yourself with the glover's needle when you're soling moccasins and stuff.
Oh, you've been there, done that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the worst.
So we have another question from Brian. How have you done Southern ladies leggings before?
Yes. Yeah.
So can you, so Brian, when you're asking questions, try to answer them with open-ended, like how, who, where, when.
Okay. Well, do you want me to expand on that a little bit?
So yeah, can you expand on that a little?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes the Southern Plains leggings, some people refer to them as a boot and stuff, like Comanche, Kiowa, or Cheyenne leggings and stuff. And it's a wraparound flap that has beadwork down the side. And again, they use colored dyes oftentimes in between that panel of beadwork. Sometimes people put silver spots in that. And sometimes there's long fringe over the top because they go up to the knee and then they fold over it. And you can either fringe that or just leave it by the hide itself and stuff. And then the moccasin part is done, and depending on what style you're doing, either may have a medallion on the toe and beadwork around the edge of the moccasin, left plain, depending on the tribal style that you want to do.
Okay.
So
We have another question from Karen Blackwood, and I really like this question here. Are there any project requests that you hesitate to do?
Yes, there are. Only because when people ask me to copy something, they've seen something, they want it done, and they want me to copy it, I won't do that. If they own the original piece and that's in their possession, I will do that. I will do it. An example of that is a friend of mine had acquired from auction a pair of beaded moccasins from back in the 1890s that are just gorgeous, but of course they can't be worn anymore. They're hard as a rock. And he asked me if I would bead him a pair that he could wear, and I did, because he owned the original. But if somebody says, I want you to do this and copy this. Will you do it? It's like, no. The other thing I won't do is when somebody asks me, well, here's the design I want you to do. And I want it laid out like this, and I want it done like that. And I have to tell them, I said, I'm an artist. I'm a craftsperson. You can't, if you're looking for a beading machine, that's not me. You got to respect my craftsmanship and my artistry, and know that that's a God-given gift. And to just do something because I'm fast at doing that style of beadwork, I won't do that.
Okay.
Indeed.
We have a question from Karen DeCrane, and she said, when writing the books, did you have to do a lot of research, or had you already learned all the techniques?
What I already knew the techniques. I knew what I wanted to do. I learned a lot from doing book one, actually, in the process, because I used a digital camera, but I learned I did not have a high enough pixel resolution on the camera to do justice, because you have to be able to use a raw image, which was something I didn't even know what was until I did the book. Because the publisher has to have the raw image in order to tweak it for color resolution and highlights and stuff, and the picture and stuff. So most of the pictures are done by me holding this little camera, taking pictures of my hands, or having my wife take a picture of my hands, and then writing the text to it and stuff. I think one of the most interesting things about the books are that the editors, there were several editors who edited the book to read it for content, because it's a technical manual. It has to be understood by everybody who reads it. It's an unfortunate thing that the median reading average in our country is at about a third grade reading level. Just, that's no slight on anybody. I'm just saying that's where the reading skill level is. So one of my
considering the opening sketch, we know you're being forgiven for Savannah and I.
So one of the editors was actually a 7-year-old child who read the book and then was asked, do you understand what was said? And they would repeat it back and stuff. So it was interesting to get their perspective on it and stuff, because I was told a couple of times, you need to reword this because you need to make it clearer for the average reader, not for, people at college level kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true, because you have to think like who your audience is going to be. You will have the 5-year-old, the 6-year-old that's learning how to bead from your book.
Right.
So, and because that was yourself like forever ago. Like I always tell people, the dark ages for me. So back in the past, right? And that's a very, very good point. Hey, James, can you pour me some tea? I really would
coming
like
up.
More. I haven't had it.
Let me get you some right here. Let me reach down and get it. Okay, a little bit more.
Would you like some more too, Scott?
Oh, wait, I should have bowl. Okay, here we go. Here's a little bit to go.
Okay. Would you like some more, Scott?
Sure.
I know you've been talking a lot, so hand me back your cup, please.
Oh, where's it at? Oh, there it is.
Okay, hand it to me.
Get the tea.
Oh, okay. Here you go. Okay.
There you go. All right, let me get you some here. Okay.
Here you go. Scott. Here you go. Here's the cup.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Do we want to do, what was that called? The tea biscuit challenge? What was it called?
Oh, the tea biscuit. It was a biscuit duel. It's a tea biscuit duel. Yes.
I'm prepared.
Yes.
Who's prepared?
Here's those. Okay. I forgot to tell Scott.
I'm not sharing these through the camera because.
Scott, do you have a cookie nearby?
Do I have a cookie nearby? No.
Okay. So Scott, so James and I are gonna duel. Okay. So this is what you do. You take your cookie, your biscuit, because that's the proper name, right?
Right.
English and name. you're gonna put it in the water. You're gonna dunk it, your tea, You're
Oh,
gonna
I got real tea. I'm not gonna soak a cookie like that. All right, we ready?
Okay, and you have to sit it in the water, and whoever's biscuit. You're using a cracker. That's not the same as a biscuit. This is a biscuit.
That's all I got. Okay, I'll go double cracker.
Okay, so yeah. So okay, you put it in there and you leave it in and see who's it can stay in
Doors
the
close at 9.
without
Okay, I couldn't
crumbling.
get any.
Okay, 10
Ready?
seconds. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
And we wait till it crumbles, right?
Yes. Well, who can have it sit the longest without falling apart?
Good so far.
Oh my! I don't know. Uh-oh.
I'm doing awesome.
Oh. Yeah, no, I don't know. It's getting really heavy right now.
We're going good.
Are we at 10 seconds yet?
Well, we're past 10
Counting?
seconds.
No one's counting?
Well, we went at the same time. We can just know in instant replay.
It's still connected.
It's still connected here.
Oh, I'm not going to eat that though. That's gross. It's floating in the water.
That's actually not bad. I got mine dipped in. Okay, fell apart. I already ate one, but I dipped two. I dipped two. You saw me eat that one. But I got green tea in there, and I dipped it. You know what? That was actually pretty good. Weird enough. I mean, I don't really drink alcohol, but I've smelled it, and it's got like a taste of alcohol to it. So maybe the crackers ferment in green tea really quick. Made a discovery.
Yeah, so keep the questions coming. We still have Scott.
Yep.
And
we have a question.
We have some more questions that we're gonna.
We have one. Scott, does your wife also bead?
No, she does not. Never interested her.
So does she have another creative outlet?
She's an artist. She paints. She does craft work and stuff. At one point in time, she was a window sign painter.
Oh, cool.
So she's had many different kinds of careers. She's also been a floral manager at a craft store and did floral arrangements for people all over the place. And so she's had a variety of different things she's done. Her primary role, though, she was a massage therapist. So that's what her profession was.
I'm dipping more crackers in the tea.
And a professional clown.
Well, that's fun. It's fun. So what my Dan was asking me, what kind of painting does she do?
She mostly uses acrylics
Mm-hmm.
on canvas and just different things. I don't know if I can. I don't have anything around here that's got her artwork on it, but she's painted a couple things. One of my favorite ones is out in my hallway going up to my room and stuff, where she did a two-dimensional of a couple in a wedding blanket looking over a lake, and you see the reflection of them in the lake and stuff. It's
that's
pretty
nice. That's nice. So we have a question in here. It says, how do you store your fans? They look so perfect.
There is there's a trading post out there that makes fan cases that are made to fit the different sizes of feathers that people have. You know, some people have these really ginormous fans these days where they spread the whole eagle tail out really wide and stuff, and they're tall and things. And they make fan cases for those. And inside that case, it's lined with velour. And there's two tie down places that hold the fan in place, and then you can shut the lid and zipper the case around it. And I keep all my fans in fan cases. So I have like 17 or 18 fan cases upstairs in my bead room.
Yeah, that's really a great way to store them.
We have a question that just came in. What other styles of Power dance styles have you danced other than Southern Straight?
Mostly Southern Straight. I do have a men's traditional set of dance clothes that I made many years ago. Living up here, when I moved up here up north, there's not a lot of Southern drums. It's almost all Northern drums. And I wore my straight dance clothes up here many times, and people would always look at me funny, like, what kind of dance clothes are those, kind of thing. So I made a traditional outfit. So I have a beaded vest that goes with that. I have a a beaded clout and the leg bands, the moccasins and the headgear and stuff that go with all that I've had for probably 25 years now, that set of clothes and stuff. It's most of it's on an elk hide that I tanned. It was the biggest challenge I've ever done, is that elk hide. It killed me.
Mm. Elk hides are huge.
But my preferred style of dance clothes is the straight dance clothes.
Mm-hmm. So do we have any other questions coming in?
Or anybody wants to come in, here's a great time to be part of the conversation.
Yeah, this is what's nice about the show. So every week we do it where it's an open discussion session so that, you know, you can ask questions. Sometimes it's really hard to get in touch with people. And that's why, like I say, we pick people that are interesting and have interesting things to talk about. So how did you end up in Oregon?
Well, that's kind of a long story. I was lived in Southern California for many years. And as you all know, during the late 80s and stuff, the housing costs got way out of whack down in Southern California. And trying to find a job that paid well enough to allow my wife to stay home with the kids while they were little was just very difficult. And we took a trip up to Oregon to visit my sister. She lived in Prineville, which is on the other side of the mountains, and decided to come home along the coast. So we went over the mountains coming down to the Willamette Valley, which is where we live. And we kind of just made ourselves and said, you know, if we ever moved, this would be a nice place to move to. So we went home and we were getting ready to sign for a house in Ontario, right by the Ontario airport there, in a housing tract. And I put the pin down and I looked at my wife and said, I don't want to do this. I want to move to Oregon. And she goes, I'm game, let's go. And we left the next week.
Wow.
And stuff. So we drew a circle. I was I was a nurse. Well, I'm still a nurse technically, but at the time, you know, we just drew circles on the map up in Oregon and said, let's find the hospitals in these 3 circles and see what's available. And I interviewed at the hospitals, and at that time and age, if you were a nurse and walked into a hospital, they tried to hire you that day to start, kind of thing.
Wow.
So it was pretty open-ended. I could choose where I wanted to go to.
Wow.
We have a question from Cassie. What inspires your beadwork designs?
I'd have to say that I know I have a certain style, but I think that style has to do a lot with the colors I choose. Because if you notice, most of my colors are bright, vivid colors. I don't like the muted tones very often. I do muted tones for people who ask for them, but most of the time I like very distinctive, vibrant color that are primary colors and things. But I'd have to say my design inspiration comes from God, because I most often sit down to do a project and don't have a design in mind. It comes to me as I sit down and look at it, as I think about the person I'm making it for, and who they are. If I know them and stuff, what do I know about them? Like, for example, the pair of moccasins I made, the last pair I made was for my nephew. And he's a very traditional type of young man and wanted an old style set. And so that's what I made him. But the pair before that was that pair that was the light blue background with lots of pink in it and stuff. But that I made for my brother. My brother's ribbon work and dance sashes, side taps, garters have all got that blue and pink in them. And so I knew those aren't normally my style of colors, the pink in there and stuff, but that's what he needed to have for him so that they went well with his dance clothes and stuff. And so then I just sat down and started going with the teepees to make them the way that they were going to look good for him.
Cool.
Did that answer that?
Yeah, that's great. Great. So Brian is asking, can you describe the difference between brickwork and gourd stitch? And he said, there doesn't seem to be any folks doing brickwork. Why do you think that is? So it's a kind of a double question.
Okay, brickwork is very time consuming, first of all. When you're doing gourd stitch, you're doing a spiral design going down, and it's like it's called a 3-drop usually. If you look at one pattern of a gourd stitch, it has 3 beads going one direction and 5 beads coming down in the other direction. So it makes like this zigzag design with one slope a little bit longer and one slope a little bit steeper. This is the 3 beads, this is the 5 beads. And so that's the basic design for that gourd stitch style of beadwork. And so everything has to be designed in that way. And in order to make those designs, when you're doing that kind of style of beadwork, you have to use some math, because you have to have the right amount of beads to make certain designs. So you have to have a number of beads going around the circumference that's a number that's divisible by 6 to make the most complex design. Has to be divisible by 3 to make most designs, but has to be divisible by 3 evenly. So it can't be like divisible by 3 and come up with a number like 13. That won't work, because your designs, you'll come around and you'll have 2 designs together and no space in between them. So that has to be like 14, 16. It has to be an even number. Brickwork, on the other hand, is done with the beads being sideways. So you start off with basically a string around the object, and then you go around it. You go around the thread with your needle, come back and go through the beads. So the beads are laying the opposite direction that they are in gourd stitch. So instead of being the beads being up and down like this in gourd stitch, they're laying sideways like this. And as the beads are laying there, each next succeeding row stacks up on it by going through the thread that's in between these 2 beads. That's how the stitch is made. That's where it gets its name, because it stacks up like bricks. You have, how a brick goes, and then the other brick goes on top here, and then the next ones up here go this way again. That's what makes it called brickwork. And it lays out where you can do more designs that are like the diamond shapes and things like that, because it's just more distinct that way, in the way the beads lay, and that they're laying flat versus going up and down like they do in the gourd stitch. Does that make sense?
I think that.
Yeah, absolutely. We have another question from Caroline Blackwood. How many projects are you currently working on, and are any of them for yourself?
So really quick, before we answer that, I wanted to say something really quick. So I noticed on here in this book, you actually do talk about the 3-drop and the brick stitch. So I think that you do have a bit of explanation of the types of what you were talking about, for like how it develops into the 5 versus the 3. So that is a little bit discussed in this book. Yeah. So
there's one beadworker I know, Leland McCain, who does brickwork, and he still does it. So does Carl Jennings do the brickwork style. And I forgot what the other question was that you just asked me.
How many projects are you currently working on? Are any of them for yourself?
Right now, I'm not doing anything for myself. Every once in a while, I'll stop and I'll say, okay, it's time for me to do something. I had a list of projects I needed to do, and I decided I was going to make that purple suit for myself for my COVID-19 suit. So I laid out the designs for that, did one of the aprons, and then I did a project for somebody else. And then I did the other part of the apron and did another project for somebody else. And then I did it. But I'm not one that starts a whole bunch of projects and have them laying around. I start one project and I finish one project. I don't move on until I'm usually done with that one and stuff. So even when I did that purple stuff, I did the whole complete apron before I moved on to the next project. Right. And then when I got all 3 pieces done, I stopped and did the ribbon work and edge beading on it so that it would all be completed at the same time. So right now I'm not really, I just am getting ready to start another pair of moccasins for another friend down in California. I just got his foot tracings in the mail today. So I'll give them a start tomorrow sometime and stuff. And then I'm also going to take my little hat here, my little fedora hat, and I'm going to bead it. My wife found, I forgot I had this hat. So it's going to get some beads on it. It's going to get a brim around the edge of it here and a hat band and maybe something on the side up here kind of thing. So that'll be something I'll do for me in the near future here.
Okay, so another question from Cassie is, how do you plan how your designs fit or sit on the canvas you're working on? So whatever your surface is, like, how do you plan that? So like maybe moccasins, I think you work from the toe.
I'm very adamant about moccasins matching up side to side and stuff. So I always bead the toes, both toes on both moccasins first to make sure that they match and stuff. And then I have a mark on each one of the moccasins for each center of design. So I do the first row around the entire moccasin. After I do the toe, I put that bottom lane all the way around the edge. So the designs are all set where they're going to be. When I do a vest like this, when I'm doing this on the canvas, I had a line going down the middle here. I had a line going down the middle here and stuff. And so that I knew where the designs need to be and stuff. When you're doing big things like this, you do the design first and then you do the background to fill it in. Nobody sees the background up close. If you had your design out of whack, tilting one way or leaning a little bit this way or that way, or spaced out, you would see that. You don't see that in the background. You only see that in there. The only thing you really see in the background is if you don't have enough beads and you buy more beads and they're a different lot number and you've got different colors. And there's a section in book 1 that talks about that. There's a beautiful dress in there that's got done with a green background and there's 2 shades and it's very obvious that there's 2 shades of green and it really stands out. Even white beads. I had a friend of mine that lives in Nevada right now. He beaded a set of moccasins for his granddaughter and he brought them and he showed them to me last Labor Day, as a matter of fact, and said, "What do you think?" And I went, "It's really nice. Why did you use 2 different shades of white?" And he went, "I didn't." And I said, "Yeah, you did." He goes, "Can you tell that?" And I went, "Yeah, you can." I said, white have different lot numbers too. So we went back and redid them and made them match because I made them mad because they told them they didn't match.
Yeah.
This is actually really great. We have a lot of people asking questions and we're still going forward. And of course, we're going to save a specific question. That's the final question for the last question because it's pretty good.
Yes, it is. So I know I was about to ask you that actually about there.
Yeah. So we got another question for Vivian. She said, which do you like beading most? Moccasins, rosettes, or anything other? What's your favorite thing to bead?
My favorite style of beadwork is applique beadwork. That's the rosettes, the barrettes, the belt buckles and those things, because I can just sit down in a day and make a full barrette like that lily barrette and stuff. Was a one-day project for me and stuff. And I know a lot of people, that's a month project. I just am very quick, very fast at it and stuff. So I will sit down and just do those. And then I can just put them away. And then I have a bag that I keep them in. And like when I go to some dances, there's many of my Indian friends who know I carry a bag with me. And they're going to go, "Can I see what's in the bag? Can I see what's in the bag?" And they go like, I get first dibs at the bag and stuff. So they go through it and they pick out barrettes and buckles and stuff that they want. So I like doing those because those are things I can just do whenever I want to and have them done and stuff. The bigger projects like the moccasins and stuff, I try not to get too bogged down with them and stuff. But right now, I guess there's a big rush on them because I've got like, two more pairs that I have to do right now. I was hoping I was done, but I've got 2 more pairs that I need to do. And then I'm going to kind of back off because it's time to do some feather work or make a couple roaches or something. Because I also do porcupine hair roaches and stuff too. So
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I've tied 17 of them and stuff. So I've got quite a few of them as well.
Some of those big ones with 11-inch hair or 12, 13-inch hair, and
I've got
big
a
ones,
couple
those
of
take a
those.
long time. I bet people said they could do them in 12.5 hours. I don't doubt it, but that's just fast.
I tie when it comes to tying the hair. Well, sorting the hair takes more time than it does tying.
Oh
the
yeah.
and stuff. So when it comes to tying the hair, I can do about an inch every 10 minutes. Stuff. So goes pretty quickly and stuff.
That's fast. That's pretty quick.
Deer hair is a little bit more trying because you got the little bunches, and all you need to do is, I cut several. Some people cut each bunch and tie it on. I cut like 10 bunches and set them on my loom, or my board loom kind of thing, and tie them all at once. And then right in the middle of it, I'll sneeze and hair goes everywhere.
I've invented new words when things like that have happened with deer hair and porky hair. There's one time when my dog decided the cat decided they like porky hair.
Oh, great.
I'd rather the cat go after feathers than the porky hair.
Yeah. Well, the cost of porky hair has really gone up.
That's what I mean.
Advent of eBay and everybody with these giant roaches now, it's all very difficult unless you have a source to get anything that's of significantly long hair.
Yes.
I used to buy like 2 pounds, that's a lot of hair, at a time to get enough long hair to make a couple of really good roaches out of it. And then you have just a huge amount of leftover 6-inch hair and stuff. I can make lots of 6-inch roaches and stuff. It's just getting the longer hair for the crowns and stuff. But 6-inch hair still makes a really nice crown and stuff. It's not, to me, it's not so much the length, it's more of how thick, how full it is and stuff. Because when I do a roach, I do 4 rows around the crown and do 2 rows around the whole thing, and 4 rows around the front, 3 rows around 3/4, and then 2 rows around the rest and stuff.
Yeah.
That's off of beadwork.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just like to, when you were talking about it, just reminded me of the days where I used to be able to buy a sandwich baggie, Ziploc sandwich baggie, full of quills back in the early 90s for $7 or $8.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
It's
Not anymore.
like thinking back when, like, I remember when I was a kid and I saw the octane on the pumps, on the gas pumps, and I saw that the prices matched the octanes, and I didn't understand why there was an octane and a price. So it's kind of the same thing. I'm aging myself.
Okay.
At least you haven't lived in Oregon that long where you know how to pump your own gas.
I tried to do that when I first moved up here, and they said you couldn't do that. I'm going like, I don't understand why. And it took me a while to realize that you can't do it and stuff.
Oh, so it's like New Jersey. It's like New Jersey. You can't pump your own gas. Okay.
Right.
That's
There
cool.
are certain areas now in the rural areas where you can pump your own, but if you're in any city that's over X amount of population, they still have to pump your gas. It gives a job to somebody.
Yes, it does.
True enough.
I definitely enjoyed that when we were in New Jersey visiting several years ago, not having to pump any gas. So they come up, they're like, "Hey, can I pump your gas?" They're like, "Sure."
Yeah.
I always get in trouble because I don't ever fill my tank in my car, and I get yelled at because I always let it go down to like the very bottom. I'd run out of gas a couple times.
Not supposed to do that.
Okay, so are we ready for? Let's see. Oh.
Nothing new on the emails.
Okay, but there is here when you and Brian are going to. Okay, so I guess Vivian is suggesting that you, Scott, and Brian Steyer, when are you guys going to have a virtual cook-off? So I guess it's like a beating.
Brian Stry, is that who she's talking about?
Yeah, Brian Stry, yes.
Cook-off? What kind of cook-off?
I don't. So I think it's probably like a comparison of your beadwork. I don't know.
I know. I think it's got something to do with cooking and stuff. Brian and I are friends. He's in
Okay.
Texas, and his family and Vicky Stry and Jim Stry are his mom and dad.
Okay.
And I've known them all for many years and stuff. And Brian's a good guy. He's married to Sally Kirchie, Comanche lady, very nice lady. But Brian does a lot of outdoor cooking and stuff. So I'm trying to figure out have to ask Vivian on Sunday when she's talking.
I know. Okay, so we got another question. How long would you say your first pair of moccasins took you to bead, if you can remember? LOL.
The first pair of beaded moccasins I actually did, the guy who told me how to cut them out, I know him to this day and stuff, and he talked to me. He says, "Do you remember those first pair of moccasins we cut out for you?" And I went, "Yeah, I do." And he goes, "They never fit, did they?" And I went, "No." He goes, "I had no idea what I was doing. I just just told you to do this, and you just did it." So it's like, yeah, I know. They were like, you could have floated a boat on them. They were so huge and stuff, but they were these big blue moccasins, big, huge soles on them and stuff. And I did them in 13-aught cut beads. And it probably took me about 4 weeks to really do them, about a month and stuff. But they were like boats. And I wore them for a while, and I couldn't wear enough socks to keep the daggum things on. I have no idea where they're at at this day and stuff. I have no idea what I did with them.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask you, so do you still have them?
That's exactly what I was
No.
picturing, is how many socks you have to wear to just fill it out. Ankle
Right,
sock after ankle sock,
exactly,
sock, sock.
To the point where you can't feel your foot anymore. You're going like, man,
You'd be accused of being a Bigfoot.
But,
Yeah. So, are we gonna do the final question now?
I think it's time for the final question. So you want to read it?
So Brian, your friend Brian said, "My final question: what is the air-speed velocity of a coconut laden swallow?"
Which can I fill in? Can I? Do you want?
Yeah, go
for
ahead.
it.
Scott, if you want to try it, Scott?
No, I get.
Well, I want to ask Brian this. What do you mean? Is it African or European?
Because this is very important.
Mhm.
It changes the answer.
And if he gets it wrong, he flies off the bridge. This is a scene from Holy Grail.
Oh,
Yes.
It's a Python
so
joke.
I highly recommend watching the movie Monty Python's Search for the Holy Grail. It is really funny. It's
I watched it many years ago. I'm gonna have to watch it again.
Yes, I've watched it so many times. Like in high school, I used to watch it. Like I bring it with me to my friend's house, and we would just watch it over and over and over the whole weekend. It's so fun.
Yeah, I was talking with another friend about it, and they said that, Python's an acquired taste. I said, no, actually it means you need to acquire taste.
Yes, this is true. This
I'm
is true.
a diehard Python fan.
Oh, I love Monty Python. It's fun. This was
Obviously from
actually
this.
really exciting because we're thinking, oh, we're gonna have to do a Downton Abbey themed show, and we're like,
Python was
how
the
is it?
compromise.
Let's
No,
think,
we're teetotaling. And we actually had a real when we first met Wednesday. We're having a real conversation about Downton Abbey, going, what about this scene and that? And I'm going, well, it's not Pride and Prejudice.
I love that one. I love Pride and Prejudice.
I made myself watch it once. Or rather that than the Napoleon Dynamite.
But I'll go watch Star Wars, Star Trek with you any day.
Okay, Scott, I have a question for you. I have a question. Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Trek.
No!
Savannah. Savannah.
No! Boo!
Yeah.
Boo!
She's all
Yeah,
Star Wars. She's all Star Wars. I'm all Star Trek.
I watch
Dude, you just went
all.
up here in my book.
I like
Savannah. Suck it, Savannah.
Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Next Generation. I watch them all. I still watch them all.
I have to admit,
Do you watch it? Have you watched any of Star Trek Discovery? Because that's a little bit different.
No, because that's only on that. What is it, on Netflix or Stream or something like that? Which I don't.
CBS All Access, $8 a month.
Yeah.
Okay, we go this far.
Okay, I did watch Next Generation. I did watch Deep Space Nine. I did watch Voyager, and I loved Next Generation, and I loved Deep Space Nine, and I loved
classics.
Voyager. Yeah, so I mean, I did actually grow up with Star Trek. I watched all the movies, and so I just give James a really hard time because it's lots of fun.
It's kind of fun on late night Saturday night. You can watch the original Star Treks on MeTV. They have the original Star Trek shows. Yeah.
After Svengoolie, right?
Right.
After Svengoolie.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. It's kind of fun.
Another question for you.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I got a friend of mine up in Twin Palms that turned me on to Svengoolie. I was like, this is not bad. This is cool. But one more question for you. Picard, Cisco, Kirk, Janeway, or Archer? Archer's from Star Trek Enterprise.
Yeah, I'm going to say Janeway, actually.
I dig Janeway in the later seasons.
Yeah. I liked Kate Mulgrew. I think she did a good job.
Kate Mulgrew's a class act.
Yeah.
Still.
I know, but I really love Picard. He's my
Jean-Luc?
favorite. Yes, Jean-Luc.
Oh, yeah.
Jean-Luc Picard. That has a British accent.
Locutus, when he was Locutus.
He's French, but he has a British accent, people.
Well,
Hey, Sean Connery was on The Hunt for Red October, and you have a Russian captain with a Scottish accent, okay?
I know, right? All right. So,
We have a quick question. What's the theme next week? Well, you're going to have to tune in next week.
I don't know.
to
That
find
theme
out.
next week is directly from that person.
I know.
Our next guest.
Well, you'll know in a few days when we meet with you.
Christy, we'll talk to you soon. I promise.
We actually didn't tell
and we're going to surprise James, this guy here.
No, you're not. So, we don't actually plan to do themed shows. It just happens to be the last couple of shows we've worked out that way. It just kind of comes to us.
Yeah.
The show's evolving. We're episode number 4.
Well, Christy, and you and we can talk tomorrow on the phone. We'll plan a plan against James.
Remember, Julia does all the graphics. And pointed directions.
It's fun. This is all about being silly and having fun.
Word.
And talking over each other at the same time. Okay, so I have a note coming here. Oh yes, and then so you guys, just so you know, we have our craft nights. Join us, right, James and Scott? It's a lot of fun. We just a whole bunch of people. We fill up our whole screen like Brady Bunch, and we all show our projects and we talk about all of our things we're working on. It's a lot of fun. I've met a lot of really amazing people that way, and it's actually been really a fun thing to do during this quarantine.
Yeah. We did some trivia last time on the 20 most populated cities in the U.S.
I know that was
Well, craft night's supposed to last 3 hours, but it goes on 5.5 hours.
Yeah, it's scheduled from 6 to 9, but ends up going till midnight.
We've gone later than that before. It was a couple times we've gone past 1 Pacific time.
Yeah,
Wow.
This is true. It happens. If people are on there, damn, look at you shaking the camera.
We have people on the East Coast that all of a sudden by the time we wind down, they got to go to work, and they're on still with us.
And also, it's a good way to chat. Like you say, if you're working on a project and you want to get some advice, like you say, hey, what do you think about this bead color? Should I do it this color or this color? So it's nice to have that kind of community of artists to work with, and so some people. I know Scott's given a whole bunch of great pointers on different beadwork projects that people are working on, and it's just nice because you can talk to people and get an outside view on it. So anyway, that is our episode, right?
That is. So
Yes.
Scott, thank you so much for being part of our show
pleasure.
tonight. It's been a fantastic
Thank you for
experience.
being here. I'm so glad that you came
Fun.
here on our show, and I think this has been a really great episode.
Oh, great. It's been fun.
Yes, so we are going to sign off on.
All right, we got to do closing credits.
Oh, okay. Let's do the closing
So we're
credit.
doing closing credits with everybody. We're all we'll be streaming off Facebook. The three of us will be on the Zoom. So with everybody. Thank you so much. And here's our closing credits for the end of the show.
Bye.
As soon as it plays.
Ooh, cool.
This is our regular closing credit.
Cool.
Like I said, I've had some shaky internet tonight. But all right, there we go.
Yay! Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Night.